Dear students, welcome to Swayam CCI. This is Ram Sudhir. Now, today we are taking a topic which has already come up in the recent mains, that is related to Competition Commission of India. Recently, there was a Competition Amendment Act. Now, this topic again becomes important for the preliminary. Why? Because it is continuously in newspapers. Now, what are the things that are important for prelims? What are the things that are important for mains? So, these are the two things we have to look into as far as this topic is concerned. First thing is, when we talk about Competition Commission of India, CCI specifically. So CCI is basically a statutory body. We should know this, that CCI, Competition Commission of India, is a statutory body, and this statutory body was created via Competition Act 2002. Now this CCI has replaced Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1969. So MRTP was the only entity which was handling competition or monopolies way back in 1960s. So now after LPG liberalization policy, the concept of competition has turned. That is, competition started becoming even more complex because of several issues like abuse of dominant positions. Well, what I mean by dominant position here, certain companies which are too big, for example, Amazon or Flipkart, they can definitely manipulate the markets through their dominant positions. And these companies, when they get into mergers or acquisitions, so merger is two companies coming together. Acquisition is one company taking over another company. So when we talk about this word called combinations, so here CCI basically works towards regulating anti-competitive behavior. It tries to regulate the dominant positions of the companies. Okay, it also tries to handle the combinations. Combinations include acquisitions, takeovers, mergers, and these kind of things, and which can negatively affect the competition. So MRTP was not so sufficient in terms of handling all this, and therefore MRTP was replaced by CCI. Now, CCI, since CCI amendment was in CCI Amendment Act was in news, so CCI becomes important for prelims. So, first of all, what becomes important for prelims is to understand this institution called CCI. So, CCI is one is it's a statutory body, and it works under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It works under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. This is important. Huh? Yeah, there can be a question in this area. Another important aspect is this CCI composition. It has a chairperson and at least 2 to 6 other members who are appointed by the central government. And the term of the office of the chairperson and these members is 5 years, and or 5 years, or the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. And they are also eligible for reappointment. They are also eligible for reappointment. Okay. So now what are the powers of this CCI? So the commission can inquire into certain agreements, combinations, and regulating the dominant positions. Okay. So now if we fail to follow the commission orders or directions, it can result in fine or imprisonment. Now, why CCI was in news? So last 1.5 2 years, there were CCI has pushed complaints, or PCI has fined companies like Google around 1150 crore, 1200 crore. So it was continuously in newspapers, and that is the reason there was a question also in this year mains GS2. This is the question basically: discuss the role of Competition Commission of India in containing the abuse of dominant position by multinational corporations in India, and also refer to the recent decisions. So this was the question which was asked. So something that is continuously coming in news, there can be a question. But now what becomes important is the recent CCI, that is the background of CCI. And next is why there is a CCI Amendment Act. And third aspect would be what are the main provisions in the CCI amendment, which will help us even answer this particular question. Now, so CCI has replaced the MRTP, and CCI Act 2002 has laid the foundation for establishment of CCI. CCI is a statutory body, and which is under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. And CCI mainly handles corporate abuse of dominant positions and combinations. So this is the background of CCI. Now the question comes up, why is this CCI required? So if you see on the left side, CCI is basically required because in front of big and huge companies. Today, if we take the data of top 50 countries, you will have 20 countries, 20, 25 countries whose net worth is more than GDP of countries. So this is basically in the era of capitalism, there will be a dominant position of these companies. Today, though, in the name of market economy, which runs on the principles of demand and supply, there are many people who are outside the market. So first of all, there are many who are not part of the market because they do not have the paying capacity. Market runs on the concept of demand, and demand means it's not just about your willingness to buy a particular product, but also you need to have the ability to pay. So if you don't have the ability to pay, you're outside the market, number one. That means there are a major chunk of population who are outside the market, number one. The second thing is, though you're part of the market and you have the paying capacity also, because of the dominant positions of the companies, you are just a small entity in front of huge companies. And to serve these customers better, or to promote real market economy without cronyism, or to follow best practices, we require regulatory bodies like Competition Commission of India. It's a need of the hour. So there were several cases, there were earlier also, whether it is with respect to Google or whether it is with respect to cement cartels. So group of companies coming together in terms of deciding the prices. So because of all this, this regulatory body plays an important role. Now CCI in the current amendment, as there are few important things that have come up in the recent amendment act which are important. So one is, it has redefined the definition of combination, specifying a particular value there. So that is, any transactions with a value above 2000 crore, basically approval of CCI becomes important. Another important aspect is, for approval of such combinations, whether it is mergers or acquisitions, the time period has been reduced from 210 days to 150 days. This is another significant decision for faster approval that has to be given. And another important aspect is, the CCI has increased the penalty. Okay, so that is basically, when we talk about penalties, penalties are based on annual global turnover. Now, punishing companies becomes very important because of their abuse of dominant positions. So now basically the penalties are going to be levied on annual global turnover for all those significant companies where you take into consideration deal value threshold. We use a word called deal value threshold, where the deal value is more than 2000 crores and you have a substantial business operations in India. In simple words, substantial business operations is defined as 10% of its subscriber base, basically, or you have the customer subscribers or the customers are from India. So CCI will try to regulate them in terms of penalties, where the penalties would be levied based on annual global turnovers, as well as you select based on, or this levying will be based on a deal value threshold, basically, where the deal value is more than 2000 crores and at least the subscriber base is significant in from India. That is basically 10% of its subscribers or customers are from India. So this is one important aspect, the global turnover part. And when we talk about the substantial aspect, when it comes to the combinations which have to be approved by CCI, that is about the 2000 crore. So these kind of question basically was purely from a current affair perspective, in the sense, since it was in news, this mains question was asked. So the role of competition commission is definite in terms of handling the dominant positions by dominant positions by the multinational corporations in India. So whether it is in terms of regulating the combinations or dominant positions of these companies, or whether it is with respect to giving proper service to the customers, or whether it is with respect to appropriate grievance redressal mechanisms in place, or whether it is with respect to promoting real market economy without cronyism and things like that. So to prevent all that, basically, in the recent Competition Amendment Act, we find that the definition of dominant positions, there is a slight change which they have brought in. So, and along with that, there is a model which they are talking about, which is with respect to the cartel expansion. So cartels need not be among the same companies. cartels can be with respect to those companies which are not same, but they are interlinked because of some requirement. So this is basically called as a hub and spoke arrangement. So this is a new addition with respect to this. And corporate abuse of dominant positions, for example, companies with like Flipkart or Amazon, etc. There is an increase. The government has come up with increase in jurisdiction or the threshold basically. And two, there is something like penalties which is going to be based on global turnovers. That's an important, significant aspect. Another important aspect is the faster resolution process. I've written there faster resolution process and reduction in the time of approval of combinations also from 210 days to 150 days. So faster resolution mechanisms as well. And speedy approvals. So speedy approvals basically by CCI from 210 to 150, faster resolution mechanisms, penalties based on global turnovers, and also ensuring fair competition. So, fair competition, especially though it is basically if you have a substantial base, whether it is subscriber base or the customers, at least 10% of your customers are from India, then you are going to be under the radar of CCI. Now, this is all done basically to make competition really among competition more fair, and this is basically to regulate the dominant positions of the bigger companies or the multinational companies. So this is about this particular topic called CCI. I hope you like this topic. Please do subscribe to our channel and please do comment in the comment box with respect to the current affairs, and if you like the videos which we are doing. Keep watching. Signing off. Thank you.